congratulations. Not the kind of congratulations you receive at a graduation, or a birthday, or a milestone that someone else decided was worth celebrating. Not the polite applause of a world that measures your worth in visible achievements. This is something older than that. Something that moves through dimensions you've only begun to feel the edges of. The quantum field just sent you something. And I don't mean that poetically. I mean it with the full weight of what we know about how reality actually works at the most fundamental level of existence. There is a signal that has been traveling through the fabric of this universe, threading through every layer of what is possible, navigating through timelines and frequencies and probabilities. And it just arrived at the address of your energy field. Right now, in this moment, you won. Not a competition, not a lottery. Something far more precise than either of those things. What you won is access. What you won is the unlocking of a frequency band that your soul has been approaching for your entire life, possibly for many lifetimes before this one. And the fact that you're here, in this moment, receiving these words, that is not coincidence. That is your aura, doing exactly what it was designed to do, drawing toward you the exact information, the exact frequency, the exact transmission that matches what your field is ready to receive. So before we go anywhere else, I want you to feel something right now before I explain a single thing. Before we go into the science or the mechanics or the quantum architecture of what's happening, I want you to take one breath, a real one. The kind that fills you from the bottom of your lungs upward. And as you exhale, I want you to notice something at the edges of your body, not inside, at the edges, the place where your skin ends and the air begins. Because that boundary, it's not where you end. It's where you begin to broadcast. Your aura is active right now. It's been active your entire life. And today, we're going to look at it together. Really look at it. And I'm going to show you what the quantum field has been trying to tell you about who you actually are, what you actually came here to do, and why this moment, this specific convergence of your energy and this transmission is not random. It is the most deliberate thing that has happened to you in a very long time. Let's start with what you've been carrying. There's something most people who are drawn to this kind of content have in common. Not demographics, not backgrounds, not even beliefs. It's something more fundamental than any of those things. It's a feeling, a persistent, sometimes maddening, often lonely feeling that they are here for something they haven't fully stepped into yet. That there is a version of their life, a version of themselves that exists somewhere just beyond the reach of their ordinary days. That they were built for something they can feel but can't quite name. You know that feeling. You've known it for as long as you can remember. Sometimes it shows up as restlessness, sometimes as longing, sometimes as a kind of divine dissatisfaction with everything that should be enough, but somehow isn't. And here is what I want you to hear, clearly and completely. That feeling is not a problem. That feeling is not a wound. That feeling is your soul's most sophisticated navigation system. And it has been doing its job perfectly this entire time. It has been pulling you toward this frequency, toward this understanding, toward the moment when the quantum field would look at your signal, the full electromagnetic signature of who you are, what you've endured, what you've released, what you've grown into, and respond. The response is happening now. So let's understand what that actually means. Let's go into the science of it, because this is not mysticism dressed up in quantum language. This is the actual mechanics of how your personal energy field interacts with the fabric of reality. And it is more extraordinary than most people ever allow themselves to believe. Your aura is real. That is the starting point, and it is non-negotiable. The HeartMath Institute, one of the most rigorous research organizations studying the relationship between human physiology and the electromagnetic environment, has measured the field generated by your heart, extending anywhere from 3 to 8 feet beyond your physical body in every direction. Not metaphorically, measurably, with equipment designed to detect electromagnetic signals. Your heart generates the most powerful electromagnetic field in your body, approximately 60 times the amplitude of the electrical activity in your brain. 60 times. And that field radiates outward in a torus shape, a donut-shaped electromagnetic structure that extends above you, below you, around you, in every direction simultaneously. This is your aura, not a spiritual fantasy, not a New Age metaphor, a measurable, documented, scientifically verified electromagnetic field that you generate constantly, that carries encoded information about your physiological and emotional state, and that interacts with the fields of every person, every environment, and according to the principles of quantum mechanics, with the quantum field itself. Now here's where it gets extraordinary. The information your heart field carries is not generic. It is not a simple on-off signal. It is a complex encoded broadcast that contains your emotional patterns, your stress levels, your coherence state, your deepest intentions, and something that researchers are only beginning to quantify. What we might call your soul's signature frequency, the unique quantum fingerprint of who you are at the most fundamental level of your being. The quantum field, the 0-point field, the unified field, the sea of potential that underlies all of physical reality, reads this signal. Not in the way a radio reads a broadcast, passively and mechanically, in the way that quantum systems respond to each other, through resonance, through entanglement, through the profound and still mysterious principle that at the quantum level, observation and participation are the same thing. The field doesn't just receive your signal, it responds to it. It organizes around it. It assembles reality in correspondence with what you're broadcasting. This is not a metaphor. This is quantum coherence applied to the human energy field. And here is the thing that changes everything once you really understand it. Most people have been broadcasting unconsciously their entire lives. They've been sending a signal they never chose, never examined, never consciously directed. A signal built from conditioning, from fear, from inherited patterns, from the accumulated weight of every time they were told their light was too much or not enough. And the quantum field, faithful and precise as it is, has been assembling reality around that signal, delivering experiences that match the frequency, confirming the broadcast. But something has shifted in your field. Something has changed in the signal you're sending. And the quantum field has noticed. If this is landing for you, here's something I want to share. Have you spent years trying to feel lit up again? Visualizations, affirmations, vibration work, and the light still won't hold? Every one of those methods is telling you to push harder, do more, add another technique. It's not working, because the issue isn't that you don't have enough light. 6 specific patterns are sitting on top of it. They're called the frequencies of forgetting. The remembering field, a quantum guide to returning to the light. You forgot you were carrying walks through all 5 parts of getting those patterns off you. Every tool you used tried to add more light. This one lifts what's been sitting on the light you already carry. The longer you wait, the harder they get to clear. So go open it tonight. The link is in the pinned comment below. Now, back to the thread we were following. Let me tell you what it noticed. There are moments in a soul's journey, and I use the word soul not as a religious concept, but as the most precise language available for the deepest layer of your individual consciousness. There are moments when the accumulated weight of unconscious broadcasting reaches a tipping point, when enough of the old pattern has been released, enough of the authentic signal has broken through. Enough of who you actually are has survived the conditioning and the fear and the dimming, that the frequency of your field crosses a threshold. Physicists who study phase transitions, the moments when water becomes ice, when a magnetic field suddenly aligns, when a system shifts from chaos to coherence, describe these transitions as critical points, moments when the accumulated pressure of change reaches the exact threshold required for the system to reorganize at a fundamentally higher level of order. The old structure doesn't gradually improve. It transforms. Suddenly, completely, irreversibly. Your soul has been approaching a critical point, and the quantum field, which operates by the same principles that govern phase transitions in physical systems, has just recognized that you've crossed it. That's what the congratulations is for. Not for something you did. Not for something you achieved. For something you became. For the frequency you've grown into through every experience you've had, every challenge you've moved through, every layer of fear you've released, every moment you chose authenticity over approval, every time you kept the light on inside yourself, even when the world around you was dark. You didn't earn this. You grew into it. And that's a completely different thing. Now let me show you what happens next. Let me show you what the quantum field actually does when it recognizes a soul that has reached this threshold. Because this is the part that most people never learn about their own energy. And it is the part that makes everything that's about to happen in your life make sense. If this transmission is landing in your field, if you can feel what we're moving through together, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe so we can keep going deeper together. When your field crosses the coherence threshold, when the signal you're broadcasting becomes clear enough, strong enough, and aligned enough with your soul's actual frequency, the quantum field does something that looks from the outside like miraculous coincidence. But it is not coincidence. It is resonance. Quantum resonance is the principle that systems vibrating at the same frequency naturally amplify each other. Two tuning forks, one struck and one silent, placed near each other. The silent one begins to vibrate, not because someone touched it, because the frequency in the field caused it to respond. This is not magic. This is physics, and it applies to your energy field with the same precision that it applies to tuning forks. When your aura reaches a high enough coherence state, when your broadcast becomes clear and strong, the quantum field begins to resonate with it. And what that means in practical, lived experience is this: the things, the people, the opportunities, the information, the relationships, the resources that vibrate at the frequency of your soul's purpose, they begin to move toward you. Not because you chased them, because your field called them. This is what the ancients called being chosen. This is what spiritual traditions across cultures have described as divine favor, as grace, as the moment when heaven opens and what was meant for you begins to arrive. And they were right, not metaphorically, but literally. They were describing the experience of quantum resonance from the inside, the experience of being a field that has become coherent enough for the universe to organize around. You are that field right now. Your soul came here with a specific purpose, not a job title, not a life script, a frequency, a particular quality of light that only you can generate, a specific contribution to the quantum field of collective human consciousness that requires exactly your combination of experiences, your particular wounds and their healings, your specific gifts and the way they've been forged by your specific journey. No one else can generate your frequency. No one else can make your contribution. The quantum field needs exactly what you are, and it has been waiting for your signal to become clear enough to work with. It's clear enough now, and I want to sit with that for a moment before we go any further, because I don't want you to move through this too quickly. I don't want you to receive this as information and then immediately translate it into a to-do list or a set of techniques to implement. I want you to let it land in your body, in your field, in the electromagnetic space that extends 3 feet beyond your skin in every direction. You are a chosen one, not chosen over others, not chosen instead of others, chosen as yourself. The quantum field chose the frequency that is uniquely, irreplaceably you. And it has been waiting for this moment, this exact convergence of your growth and your readiness, and the particular alignment of your soul's trajectory to unlock what you came here to receive. Let yourself feel that, not as pride, as recognition, as the deep cellular knowing of something that was always true, finally being confirmed. Your light is on. It has always been on. And now, finally, the universe can see it clearly. Now let me tell you a story. There was a woman named Solara. She lived in a city that never stopped moving. In an apartment that hummed with other people's electricity. In a life that was full by every external measure and hollow by the only measure that actually mattered to her. She had done everything right. She had followed every instruction the world had given her about how to build a good life. And she had built one. A perfectly acceptable, thoroughly unremarkable, quietly suffocating good life. Solara had always known she was different. Not special in the way that made her feel proud. Special in the way that made her feel like she didn't quite fit anywhere. Like she was always slightly out of phase with the world around her. Like there was a frequency she was tuned to that no one else seemed to be able to hear. She had learned over years and years of not fitting to turn the volume down on herself, to modulate her energy to match what the room expected, to be whatever frequency caused the least friction. She was very good at this. Extraordinarily good. She could walk into any environment and within minutes have calibrated herself to match it. She thought this was a social skill. She didn't know it was a form of self-erasure. She didn't know that every time she turned herself down to match someone else's frequency, she was broadcasting a signal to the quantum field that said, I am not fully here. I am not fully this. I am not ready. And the quantum field, faithful and precise, organized reality around that signal. It kept delivering her experiences that confirmed the broadcast. Relationships where she felt unseen. Work that felt meaningless. Opportunities that seemed to pass just slightly out of reach. A life that fit the signal she was sending, which was not the signal of who she actually was. Then one night, alone in her apartment with the city humming outside and something in her chest that felt like it was about to break open, Solara stopped turning herself down. She didn't do it on purpose. She was too tired to do it on purpose. She was too exhausted from years of calibration and adjustment and making herself smaller to fit into spaces that were never built for her full size. She simply stopped. And in the silence of that stopping, something began to happen in her field. It started as a warmth in the center of her chest. The heart math researchers would have recognized it immediately as the physiological signature of cardiac coherence, the state in which the heart's electromagnetic field shifts from chaotic, irregular patterns to smooth, ordered, powerful waves. The state in which the heart's broadcast becomes clear and strong and precisely encoded with the individual's authentic frequency. Solara didn't have the language for any of that. She just felt warm. And then she felt real. And then she felt for the first time in longer than she could remember, like herself. She sat in that feeling for a long time. She didn't try to analyze it, or improve it, or turn it into a plan. She just let herself be in her own field. Let herself feel the edges of her own energy, the natural reach of her own light. And as she sat there, something began to move in the quantum field around her. It started with small things. The next morning, she received a message from someone she hadn't spoken to in years, someone who had always seen her, who reached out to say they'd been thinking of her and had something to share. A few days later, she stumbled across information that answered a question she'd been carrying for months. A week after that, an opportunity arrived that she couldn't have anticipated, couldn't have planned for, couldn't have manufactured with any amount of strategic effort, but that fit her authentic frequency so precisely that it felt, when she encountered it, like coming home. The quantum field had recognized her signal, not the calibrated, turned down, fitting in signal she'd been broadcasting for years. Her actual signal, the frequency of who she actually was. And it had begun to organize reality around that frequency. Solara didn't become a different person. She became more fully herself. And that simple, radical, quantum mechanically profound act of becoming more fully yourself is the most powerful thing a human being can do. Because the quantum field doesn't respond to performance. It doesn't respond to effort or strategy or the careful construction of a persona designed to attract good things. It responds to signal, to the actual electromagnetic broadcast of your actual energy field. And the most powerful signal you can send is the one that is most completely, most coherently, most authentically you. This is what Solara discovered. This is what you are discovering. And this is what the quantum field has been waiting for. I want to pause here and ask you something from the heart of this field we're building together. Have you ever felt your aura shift? A moment when the warmth in your chest suddenly expanded, when you walked into a room and something changed, when people responded to you differently and you knew it was because something in your energy had moved? I would love to hear about it in the comments. Your experience is real. It is data. And sharing it adds to the coherence of this collective field we're creating here. Now let's do something together. Right now, in this moment. Not later. Not after you've thought about it more. Now. This is your first Radiance practice, and it is the foundation of everything that follows. It is the practice of conscious field activation, of deliberately shifting your heart's electromagnetic broadcast from unconscious to conscious, from scattered to coherent, from the signal of your conditioning to the signal of your soul. Find a comfortable position. You can be sitting, lying down, standing. It doesn't matter. What matters is that your spine has some length to it, that you're not collapsed forward. Let your body be in a position that feels like it could receive something, like an antenna positioned to catch a signal. Now place one hand on your chest, not as a gesture, as a connection. You are placing your hand on the most powerful electromagnetic generator in your body, the organ that produces the field that extends feet beyond your skin, the organ that has been broadcasting your signal to the quantum field every moment of your life. You are touching your primary instrument of creation. Feel the warmth there. Even if you can't feel a heartbeat, you can feel the warmth. That warmth is electromagnetic activity. That warmth is your field. Now breathe into that warmth, not into your lungs, into the warmth itself. Let your breath become a delivery system for your attention, and let your attention go directly into the center of your chest. The heart math researchers call this heart-focused breathing, and they have documented its effects on the coherence of the heart's electromagnetic field with extraordinary precision. When you breathe with your attention in your heart, the field shifts. The pattern changes. Coherence increases. Your broadcast becomes clearer. Feel that shift. It may be subtle. It may be a slight softening, a slight warming, a slight sense of expansion. Or it may be dramatic, a rush of feeling, a sudden clarity, a sense of something opening. However it comes, let it come. You're not trying to manufacture an experience. You're creating the conditions for your field to do what it naturally does when you get out of its way. Now, with your hand on your chest and your breath moving through the warmth there, I want you to bring to mind something that you know is true about why you're here. Not a detailed life plan, not a career goal. Something simpler and deeper than that. A quality, a frequency. Something like, I came here to love, or I came here to create, or I came here to heal, or I came here to show people what's possible, or I came here to be free. Whatever arises naturally when you ask your heart, not your mind, your heart, what you came here for. Let that knowing settle into your chest. Let it become part of your breath. Let it become part of your field. Because Here's what's happening right now in this practice at the quantum level. You are consciously encoding your soul's purpose frequency into your heart's electromagnetic broadcast. You are, for perhaps the first time with this level of deliberateness, sending a clear, coherent, intentional signal to the quantum field that says, "This is who I am. This is what I came for. This is the frequency I'm ready to broadcast fully." And the quantum field is receiving it. Stay here for a moment. Just breathe. Just feel. Just let your field be what it is when you stop managing it and start inhabiting it. Your aura is expanding right now, not metaphorically. The coherence of your heart's electromagnetic field is increasing. And as coherence increases, the field extends further and becomes more organized and more powerful. You are, right now, broadcasting a cleaner, stronger, more authentic signal than you were 5 minutes ago. Feel that. Let yourself feel that. You are doing the most important thing a human being can do. You are becoming conscious of your own light. Now let's go deeper. Because what we've touched so far is the surface layer of what's available to you in this understanding. And there are layers beneath it that change everything about how you move through your life from this point forward. Let's talk about what it actually means to be a chosen one. Not in the inflated, ego-driven sense that phrase sometimes carries. Not in the sense of being better than others, or more deserving than others, or specially favored in a way that excludes others. In the quantum sense, in the precise, mechanically accurate sense of what it means for a soul to reach the frequency threshold at which the quantum field begins to actively organize around its signal. Every soul that incarnates into physical form carries a specific frequency, a unique quantum signature. This is not a poetic concept. It is the energetic equivalent of a fingerprint. No two souls carry exactly the same frequency, because no two souls have had exactly the same journey, exactly the same combination of experiences, exactly the same particular arrangement of gifts and wounds and evolutionary pressures that have shaped their energy field into what it is. Your frequency is yours, completely and irreplaceably yours. But here's what most people don't understand about their soul's frequency. It is not static. It evolves. It deepens. It clarifies. Every experience you have, every challenge you move through, every layer of fear or conditioning you release, every moment of genuine love or courage or authenticity, all of it changes your frequency. Not randomly, directionally, moving you always toward a more complete expression of your soul's original signature, toward the frequency you came in carrying, but in a more fully realized, more powerful, more conscious form. This is what spiritual traditions across cultures have described as the soul's journey, the path of return, the evolution of consciousness. And it is a real, measurable, energetic process. Your aura is literally different than it was 5 years ago. The electromagnetic signature of your field has changed, has deepened, has become more coherent, more powerful, more precisely tuned to your soul's actual frequency. And at certain points along this journey, not arbitrary points, but specific energetic thresholds, the quantum field responds to the evolution of your signal with what can only be described as an upgrade, an unlocking. This is what's happening for you now. The quantum field has been tracking your signal your entire life. It has been reading the evolution of your frequency through every phase of your journey. And it has recognized that you have crossed a threshold, that your signal has reached a level of coherence and authenticity and power that qualifies you, in the precise quantum sense of that word, to receive what your soul came here for. What did your soul come here to receive? This is the question that lives beneath all the other questions. Beneath what career should I have? And who should I love? And where should I live? And what should I do with my life? Beneath all of those surface-level questions is this one deeper question. What did my soul come here to receive? And the answer is not a thing. It is not an external circumstance or a material possession or even a particular relationship. The answer is an experience, a quality of being, a frequency of existence that your soul has been moving toward through every incarnation, every lifetime, every experience in this life. For some souls, what they came to receive is the experience of unconditional love, not as a concept, but as a lived reality, as the actual texture of their daily existence. For others, it is the experience of full creative expression, the reality of living as the artist, the creator, the generator of beauty that they have always known themselves to be at the deepest level. For others, it is the experience of genuine freedom, not the freedom of having no responsibilities, but the quantum freedom of existing in complete alignment with their soul's frequency, unencumbered by the weight of others' expectations or their own conditioning. For others, it is the experience of their gifts fully expressed and fully received. The healer who has been healing in secret, in small ways, in the margins of a life built around what was expected rather than what was true, and who is now ready to step into the full magnitude of what they carry. The teacher whose understanding has been deepening for decades in preparation for the moment when the students who need exactly their frequency arrive. The leader whose capacity for vision and courage has been forged through experiences that seemed at the time like nothing but suffering, and who is now ready to lead others through the territory they've already traversed. What is yours? What is the quality of existence that your soul has been moving toward? What is the experience that, when you imagine it fully realized, makes something in your chest expand and your eyes fill and your breath deepen? That response, that physical, energetic, electromagnetic response, is your soul recognizing its own frequency. Your heart field responding to the signal of its own destination. Feel for it now. Don't think about it. Feel for it. Let your hand on your chest be a receiver, and let the question move through your field. What did I come here to receive? Whatever arises, even if it feels too big, even if it feels too beautiful, even if some part of you immediately tries to argue you out of it, or make it smaller or more reasonable, whatever arises is real. It is your soul's frequency speaking to you directly, and the quantum field has just confirmed that you are ready to receive it. Now here's where I want to tell you something that might be the most important thing in this entire transmission. Something that most people never fully understand about the quantum mechanics of receiving. The reason most people don't receive what their soul came for is not because they're not worthy. It is not because they haven't worked hard enough, or been good enough, or believed strongly enough. It is because of a fundamental misunderstanding about how the quantum field delivers. The quantum field delivers through resonance, through the principle that what you broadcast, reality assembles around. And what this means is that you cannot receive at a frequency you're not broadcasting. You cannot attract what your soul came for while broadcasting the frequency of doubt about whether you deserve it. You cannot receive love while broadcasting the signal of someone who is bracing against love. You cannot receive abundance while broadcasting the frequency of scarcity. You cannot receive your soul's purpose while broadcasting the signal of someone who is still waiting for permission to be who they are. This is not about positive thinking. This is about quantum coherence. The field doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you are, to the actual electromagnetic signal of your actual energy field in its actual current state. And this is why the moment of crossing the coherence threshold, the moment we're talking about in this transmission, is so significant. Because when your field becomes coherent enough, when enough of the old, unconscious, conditioned signal has been released, and enough of your authentic frequency has broken through, the broadcast changes. Not because you forced it to change, because you finally stopped suppressing what was always there. Your authentic frequency is one of receiving. Your soul came here to receive specific experiences, specific gifts, specific qualities of existence. That is part of your design. And when your field is coherent, when you're broadcasting your actual frequency rather than the frequency of your fear, the quantum field can deliver. This is what the unlocking means. The quantum field has just recognized that your broadcast is coherent enough, clear enough, authentic enough for delivery to begin. So what do you do with that? You don't do anything to make it happen. It's already happening. What you do is this: you stop doing the things that have been preventing it. Let me be very specific about what those things are, because this is the practical layer of this teaching, and it matters enormously. The first thing that prevents receiving is what I call frequency splitting. This is when part of you is broadcasting the signal of your soul's purpose, and part of you is simultaneously broadcasting the signal of doubt, fear, or unworthiness. The field receives the combined signal, which is incoherent, like trying to tune a radio to 2 stations at once. You get static instead of music. The quantum field cannot organize clearly around a split signal. It needs coherence. It needs the signal to be predominantly, consistently, powerfully in alignment with your authentic frequency. Frequency splitting happens when you say yes with your words and no with your energy. When you declare your intention, but simultaneously brace against it. When you take steps toward what you want, while internally broadcasting the signal of someone who doesn't believe they'll actually receive it. The quantum field reads the energy, not the words, always. The way to resolve frequency splitting is not to force the doubt out. That just creates more incoherence. The way to resolve it is to bring your attention back to your heart field, to the warmth in your chest, and to breathe into the authentic signal of who you are and what you came for. Let the doubt be there. Don't fight it. Just don't let it be the loudest signal in your field. Let your soul's frequency be louder. The second thing that prevents receiving is what I call protective dimming. This is the pattern Solara was caught in, the habitual turning down of your own light to avoid the discomfort of standing in your full frequency. Protective dimming is often learned early, when you were young and your light was too big for the room, when your enthusiasm was called excessive, or your sensitivity was called weakness, or your gifts were called impractical. When being fully yourself consistently created friction, you learned to dim, to modulate, to become more manageable. And that dimming became a habit, an unconscious one. You stopped noticing you were doing it. You just automatically turned yourself down in any environment that felt like it might not have space for your full frequency. But here's the quantum reality of protective dimming. It doesn't protect you. It prevents you. It prevents the quantum field from reading your authentic signal. It prevents the resonance that would bring you what your soul came for. It keeps you safe in a small life while your soul is trying to broadcast its way into a large one. The practice of releasing protective dimming is simple, but not always comfortable. It is the practice of noticing when you are turning yourself down and making the conscious choice to turn yourself back up. Not aggressively, not performatively, simply, fully. To be as much yourself in this moment as you are capable of being. To let your field be its actual size. Your field is large. Larger than you've been allowing it to be. And the quantum field is waiting for you to stop containing it. The third thing that prevents receiving is what I call temporal displacement. This is the habit of living in the frequency of the past or the future rather than the present. When your energy field is predominantly occupied with replaying past experiences or projecting into future scenarios, it is not fully present in the now. And the quantum field only delivers in the now. The present moment is the only moment in which reality can be assembled. The only moment in which the quantum field can respond to your signal. When you are living in temporal displacement, when your energy is mostly in yesterday's regrets or tomorrow's anxieties, your field in the present moment is dim and scattered. There's not enough of you here for the quantum field to work with. It needs your full presence, your full electromagnetic broadcast, your complete signal, here now, in this moment. This is why every genuine spiritual tradition, every authentic wisdom teaching, every real practice of consciousness has at its core the instruction to be present, not as a philosophical preference, as a quantum necessity. The now is where your power is. The now is where your field is fully available. The now is where the quantum field can receive your signal and respond. Each time you bring yourself back to the present, each time you feel the warmth in your chest, each time you notice the edges of your body and the field that extends beyond them, each time you take a breath and land fully in this moment, you are increasing the power of your broadcast. You are giving the quantum field more of your actual signal to work with. And there is a fourth thing, perhaps the most important of all. It is what I call the receiving block. And it is extraordinarily common in people who are deeply spiritual, deeply growth-oriented, deeply committed to their evolution. It is the unconscious belief that receiving is somehow less noble than giving, that the truly evolved being is one who gives without need, who serves without receiving, who pours out without being filled. This is a beautiful idea, and it is quantum nonsense. The quantum field is a system of exchange, of resonance and response, of giving and receiving in continuous, dynamic balance. The sun does not apologize for receiving the gravitational force that holds it in the solar system, while it gives light to every planet in its orbit. The tree does not feel guilty for drawing water and minerals from the earth, while it gives oxygen to every creature that breathes. Giving and receiving are not opposites. They are the two poles of a single electromagnetic reality. When you block receiving, when you deflect compliments, when you resist support, when you dismiss your own needs as less important than others, when you give and give and give without allowing yourself to be filled, you are creating an energetic asymmetry in your field. You are broadcasting the signal of someone who is not available to receive. And the quantum field, faithful as always, honors that signal. It stops trying to deliver to an address that keeps sending the package back. Your soul came here to receive. That is not selfishness. That is the design. You are meant to be filled with love, with creative energy, with resources, with support, with the experiences your soul came to have. And when you are full, when you are genuinely receiving what your field is broadcasting for, the overflow becomes your gift to the world, not the forced, depleted giving of someone running on empty. The natural, abundant, effortless giving of someone whose field is so full, it simply radiates. This is the quantum economy of the soul, and it begins with allowing yourself to receive. So right now, in this moment, I want you to do something that might feel unfamiliar. I want you to practice receiving, not a concept, not a future possibility. Right now, place both hands on your chest this time. Feel the warmth. Feel your field. And then say these words silently or aloud, and let them land in your body as you say them. I am ready to receive what my soul came here for. Feel the resonance of that in your field. Notice what happens in your chest, in your breath, in the quality of the space around you. If there is resistance, if some part of you wants to qualify that statement, to add a but, or a when, or if I deserve it, notice that. That is the receiving block. That is the part of you that has been turning away what the quantum field has been trying to deliver. You don't have to fight that part. Just gently, firmly, lovingly override it. Breathe into your heart field and say it again. I am ready to receive what my soul came here for. And one more time, with your full field behind it, with your electromagnetic broadcast consciously encoded with this intention. I am ready to receive what my soul came here for. That signal just went out, not metaphorically. Your heart's electromagnetic field just broadcast that intention into the quantum field with the full power of your conscious attention and emotional coherence behind it. And the quantum field is reading it right now. This is how it works. This is how the chosen ones activate their choosing. Not by being selected by some external authority, by choosing themselves, by broadcasting the signal of their own readiness with enough coherence and enough authenticity and enough genuine power that the quantum field recognizes it and responds. You just did that. Feel what that feels like in your body, in your field, in the space around you. That is your aura. Now let's talk about what happens next, because the quantum field's response to your signal is not always what you expect. And understanding how it actually delivers is the difference between recognizing your blessings and missing them entirely. The quantum field does not deliver in straight lines. It does not operate on a simple cause and effect logic that you can map out in advance. It operates through synchronicity, through the meaningful convergence of events, people, information, and opportunities that could not have been deliberately arranged, but that fit together with a precision that feels, when you experience it, like the universe reading your mind. Carl Jung, who coined the term synchronicity, described it as a causal, meaningful coincidence. Events that are connected not by cause and effect, but by meaning, by the resonance between the inner state of the observer and the outer arrangement of events. He was describing, in the language of depth psychology, the same phenomenon that quantum mechanics describes in the language of physics, the observer effect, the principle that the state of the observer influences what is observed. That consciousness and reality are not separate systems, but participants in a single, interconnected quantum process. When your field is coherent, when your broadcast is clear and authentic and powerful, synchronicities increase. Not because you're imagining them or selectively noticing them, because the quantum field is actually organizing more of them. The resonance between your signal and the field is stronger, so the field's response is more organized, more precise, more frequent. You will begin to notice this. If you haven't already, you will. The right person appearing at the right moment, the book falling open to exactly the page you needed, the conversation that answers the question you'd been carrying, the opportunity that arrives just as you were becoming ready for it, the door that opens just as you were approaching it. These are not coincidences. They are the quantum field's delivery system, and they are going to increase in frequency and precision as your field's coherence deepens. But here's what you need to know about receiving these deliveries. You have to be present enough to recognize them. You have to be paying attention with your field, not just your mind. Because the quantum field's deliveries often don't look the way your mind imagined they would. They arrive in unexpected packages, through unexpected channels, at unexpected times. And if you're waiting for reality to rearrange itself in exactly the way you planned, you will miss what's actually being delivered. This is the practice of what I call quantum receptivity, the art of holding your intention clearly, broadcasting your soul's frequency with coherence and power, while remaining completely open to the infinite creativity of how the quantum field chooses to fulfill it. Holding the what with certainty and releasing the how entirely. This is not passive. It is one of the most active, engaged, energetically demanding things you can do. Because It requires you to be simultaneously anchored in your intention and open to surprise, simultaneously broadcasting clearly and receiving openly, simultaneously knowing what you came for and allowing reality to show you how it arrives. The chosen ones, the souls who have crossed the coherence threshold and are actively receiving what they came for, are masters of this balance. They are not passive recipients waiting for the universe to do everything. They are active, engaged, conscious radiators who are in constant dynamic relationship with the quantum field, broadcasting their authentic frequency, receiving the field's responses, moving toward what the field reveals, broadcasting again, receiving again, in continuous, dynamic, creative exchange with the intelligence that underlies all of reality. This is the life you are stepping into, not a life of waiting, a life of conscious co-creation with the quantum field, a life of active radiance and open receiving, a life in which you are fully yourself, fully broadcasting your soul's frequency, and the quantum field is fully responding. Let me tell you about another soul. His name was Elias, and he had spent most of his adult life building things for other people. He was extraordinarily gifted at seeing potential in projects, in businesses, in ideas, and at bringing that potential into form. He had spent 20 years doing this for organizations that benefited enormously from his gifts, while he remained always slightly outside the circle of those who truly thrived. He had a deep knowing that he was meant to build something of his own, something that was fully an expression of his vision, his values, his particular way of seeing the world. But every time he approached that knowing, something stopped him. A voice that said, "Who do you think you are?" A fear that said, "What if you fail?" A pattern that said, "It's safer to be useful to others than to risk being fully yourself." So he kept building for others. And the quantum field kept delivering experiences that matched his signal. Experiences of being valuable, but not fully seen. Of contributing enormously, but not fully receiving. Of being close to what he came for, but always just outside it. Then something happened. Not a dramatic external event, an internal one. A moment in which he simply got tired of arguing with his own soul, in which the energy required to keep suppressing his authentic frequency became greater than the energy required to just let it be what it was. He stopped arguing. He stopped qualifying. He stopped waiting for the conditions to be perfect, or the fear to disappear, or someone to give him permission. he simply began broadcasting the signal of who he actually was: a visionary, a builder, a creator of things that had never existed before, with his full field behind it. The quantum field's response was not immediate. It rarely is. The field doesn't operate on human timelines, but it was precise. Within weeks, Elias began to notice things shifting. Conversations that opened unexpected doors, information that arrived at exactly the right moment. A relationship that had been dormant suddenly becoming active in a new and significant way. A resource he hadn't known was available, suddenly becoming available. None of it looked like what he had imagined. All of it was exactly what he needed. The quantum field was delivering, not to the address of who he had been pretending to be, but to the address of who he actually was. His authentic frequency had finally become his broadcast, and reality was assembling around it. Within a year, Elias had built the first version of what he came here to build. Not perfectly, not completely, but really, genuinely, in a form that was fully his, fully an expression of his soul's frequency, fully received by the people who needed exactly what he carried. He told someone later that it felt like the universe had been waiting for him to stop getting in the way. Like everything that was meant for him had been queued up, ready, just waiting for his signal to become clear enough to deliver to. That's exactly what had happened. The quantum field had been ready. He had needed to become ready. And the moment he did, the moment his broadcast became coherent and authentic and powerful, the delivery began. Your delivery is beginning. I want to talk now about something that doesn't get discussed enough in conversations about aura, about energy fields, about the quantum mechanics of personal reality. I want to talk about protection, because being a chosen one, being a soul whose frequency has crossed the coherence threshold, whose light has become bright and clear and powerful, also means being in a field where that brightness is noticeable, where your signal is strong enough to be felt by others. And not everyone who feels your signal will respond to it with love. Some will respond with what we might call energetic interference. Not necessarily consciously or maliciously, but the phenomenon is real. When a highly coherent field encounters a low coherence field, there is interference. The low coherence field attempts to pull the high coherence field into its pattern. This is not metaphor. It is a basic principle of electromagnetic dynamics. Incoherent fields and coherent fields interact, and without conscious management of your own field, the interaction can result in your coherence being temporarily disrupted. This is what people are describing when they talk about energy vampires, or feeling drained by certain interactions, or leaving some environments feeling less like themselves than when they arrived. They are describing the real, measurable, electromagnetic phenomenon of field interference. But here's what most people don't know. A sufficiently coherent field is its own protection. The HeartMath research has shown that a highly coherent heart field actually has a stabilizing effect on the fields of others, not by dominating them, but by providing a reference frequency that other fields can entrain to. A coherent field doesn't get pulled into incoherence. It pulls incoherence toward coherence. This means that the most powerful protective practice available to you is not building walls or shielding yourself or cutting cords or any of the defensive strategies that treat your energy field as something vulnerable that needs to be defended. The most powerful protective practice is simply maintaining the coherence of your own field. Broadcasting your authentic frequency with enough power and consistency that it cannot be disrupted by the interference patterns of the environments you move through. Your light is your protection, not because it makes you invisible to darkness, because it is so much brighter than the darkness that the darkness cannot find purchase in it. This is what the spiritual traditions have always meant when they have described the protection that comes to those who are aligned with their soul's purpose. It is not external protection granted by some outside force. It is the natural electromagnetic consequence of a highly coherent field. The quantum physics of being so fully yourself that there is no gap for anything else to fill. So the practice of protection is the practice of radiance. Keep your field coherent. Keep your signal authentic. Keep broadcasting the frequency of who you actually are, what you actually came for, what you actually value and love and know to be true. And let that broadcast be your armor, because it is. Quantum, mechanically, measurably, it is. Now let's go into something even deeper. Let's talk about the collective dimension of what's happening. Because you are not the only soul who has crossed this threshold. Not even close. We are living in a period of extraordinary collective frequency evolution. The quantum field of human consciousness, the aggregate electromagnetic field generated by the combined hearts and nervous systems of billions of human beings, is undergoing a phase transition, a critical point, a moment of collective coherence, emergence that has no precise historical parallel. The physicists who study complex systems that exhibit emergent properties that cannot be predicted from the behavior of their individual components, have identified a phenomenon called coherence cascades. When a sufficient number of individual elements in a complex system reach coherence simultaneously, the coherence spreads. It doesn't spread gradually, element by element. It cascades, suddenly, across the entire system. Like the moment when a liquid becomes a crystal, not gradually, molecule by molecule, but all at once, in a flash of collective reorganization. Human consciousness is a complex system. The quantum field of collective human consciousness is a complex system. And what is happening right now? What has been building for decades? What is accelerating in ways that those who are sensitive to frequency can feel clearly, is a coherence cascade in the quantum field of human consciousness. The chosen ones, the souls who have crossed the individual coherence threshold, are the early elements in this cascade. The ones whose fields have become coherent enough to serve as reference frequencies for the collective field. Not because they are better than others, because they were ready first, because their particular combination of experiences, gifts, and evolutionary pressures brought them to coherence at this particular moment in the collective journey. And here is the extraordinary quantum reality of this. Every time you maintain your coherence, every time you broadcast your authentic frequency with power and clarity, every time you choose to shine rather than dim, you are contributing to the collective coherence cascade. Your field is influencing the field. Your signal is one of the reference frequencies that other fields are in training to. Your light is helping to illuminate the path for others whose fields are approaching the same threshold. This is not ego. This is quantum responsibility. This is what it means to be a chosen one in the collective sense, not chosen to be above others, but chosen to be a coherence anchor for the field. A lighthouse frequency, a living demonstration that the crossing is possible, that the threshold can be reached, that the light on the other side is real. You are not just receiving what your soul came for. You are in the act of receiving it, making it more possible for others to receive what their souls came for. Your coherence is a gift to the collective field. Your radiance is a service to the quantum evolution of human consciousness. Feel the weight of that. And the beauty of it, you didn't just win for yourself, you won for the field. Now I want to bring this into the most practical layer possible. Because everything I've shared in this transmission is real, is quantum mechanically grounded, is genuinely important, and it also needs to land in your actual daily life, in the actual texture of your actual days. Because that is where the quantum field delivers. Not in theory, in the specific, concrete, lived moments of your actual existence. So here is what conscious radiance looks like in practice. Here is what it means to live as a chosen one, as a soul who has crossed the coherence threshold and is actively receiving what they came for in the ordinary, extraordinary moments of a human life. It looks like beginning each day with a deliberate act of field activation. Before you pick up your phone, before you engage with the demands of the day, before you let the external world begin to shape your frequency, you take 5 minutes, just 5, and you do what we did earlier. You place your hand on your chest. You breathe into the warmth. You feel your field. You consciously encode your soul's frequency into your heart's broadcast. You remind yourself, in your body and your field, and not just your mind, who you are and what you came for. This is not a spiritual ritual. It is a quantum calibration. You are setting the frequency of your broadcast for the day. You are choosing what signal you send into the field before the field has a chance to choose for you. And because the quantum field responds to what you broadcast, this 5-minute practice has more influence on what your day delivers than almost anything else you could do. It looks like noticing throughout the day when your frequency drops, when you feel the familiar contraction, the tightening in the chest, the narrowing of vision, the sense of becoming smaller, and recognizing it not as a crisis, but as information. Your field is telling you it has drifted from coherence, and you know what to do. You breathe. You put your attention in your heart. You feel the warmth. You return to your signal. Not dramatically, not with a big production. Quietly, efficiently, as many times as needed. Because coherence is not a destination you arrive at and stay. It is a signal you return to again and again, with increasing ease and speed. It looks like speaking from your field, not just from your mind. When you communicate, in conversation, in your work, in any form of expression, letting what you say be shaped by what your field is broadcasting, rather than by what you think the other person wants to hear. This is what people mean when they say someone speaks their truth. They are describing the experience of someone whose words and energy are coherent, whose broadcast and their verbal output match. And this coherence is felt deeply by everyone in the field of the person broadcasting it. When you speak from your field, you are not just communicating information. You are transmitting frequency. And the people who need your frequency, the ones whose fields are ready to receive it, will feel it in a way that goes beyond words. They will feel seen. They will feel activated. They will feel something in their own field respond to yours. This is the quantum mechanism of genuine influence, not persuasion, resonance. It looks like receiving graciously. This is the practice of allowing what the quantum field is delivering to actually land. When someone offers you appreciation, let it in. When an opportunity arrives, don't immediately look for the catch. When a synchronicity occurs, don't dismiss it as coincidence. When the field is delivering, receive. Actively, consciously, with your full field open and available. Practice saying thank you in a way that means it, not as a social reflex, but as a genuine energetic acknowledgement of receiving. Because gratitude is one of the highest coherent states available to the human energy field. The HeartMath researchers have measured the electromagnetic effects of genuine gratitude, and they are extraordinary. A rapid, dramatic shift into coherence that amplifies the field's broadcast and opens the receiver to more of what is being delivered. Gratitude is not just a nice feeling. It is a quantum amplifier. And when you practice it genuinely, not as performance, but as real acknowledgement of what you're receiving, you are increasing the power of your broadcast and the openness of your receiving simultaneously. It looks like trusting the timing. This is perhaps the hardest practice for souls who have been waiting a long time for what they came for. The quantum field does not operate on human timelines. It operates on the timeline of coherence. Things arrive when the field is ready for them, when the resonance is right, when the delivery can actually be received, rather than just encountered. And sometimes, what feels like delay is actually preparation. The field assembling the conditions for a delivery that will be complete rather than partial, sustainable rather than fleeting, real rather than just close. Trust is not passive. Trust is the active, energetically powerful choice to keep broadcasting your authentic frequency even when the delivery hasn't arrived yet. To maintain coherence even in the gap between intention and manifestation. To keep your field clear and strong and open even when the evidence of the field's response is not yet visible. This is the quantum faith that the spiritual traditions have always described. Not belief without evidence. Active, energetically engaged trust in the principle that your signal is being received and the response is being assembled. That the quantum field is faithful. That what you broadcast, reality assembles around. That the delivery is coming. It is coming. And finally, and this is the practice that ties all the others together, it looks like being your full self, consistently, unapologetically, in every context, in every relationship, in every moment of your life. Not the performed version of yourself, not the version calibrated to cause the least friction, not the version that fits into the space others have made available for you. Your full self, the complete, uncontained, magnificent, electromagnetic reality of who you actually are. This is the most radical practice available to a human being. And it is the one that changes everything. Because when you are fully yourself, when your field is broadcasting your actual frequency at full power, the quantum field has the clearest, strongest, most coherent signal it has ever received from you to work with, and it responds accordingly. The life that assembles around your full, authentic frequency is not the life that assembled around your managed, calibrated, turned down frequency. It is larger, more vivid, more precisely suited to who you are, more full of the experiences your soul came to have, more resonant with the people your soul came to meet, more abundant with the resources your soul needs to do what it came to do. This is what's waiting on the other side of the coherence threshold. This is what the quantum field has just unlocked for you. Not a specific outcome, a frequency of existence, a quality of life that is in complete resonance with your soul's actual signal. And you don't have to earn it. You don't have to prove yourself worthy of it. You don't have to wait until you're more ready, more healed, more evolved, more anything. You are ready now. The quantum field has confirmed it. The threshold has been crossed. The unlocking has happened. All you have to do is stay in your signal. Keep broadcasting your authentic frequency. Keep your field coherent. Keep receiving what arrives. Keep trusting the delivery. Keep being fully, radiantly, uncontainably yourself. The rest is the quantum field's job, and it is very, very good at its job. Let me bring this transmission toward its close with something I want you to carry with you, not as a concept, as a felt reality in your body and your field. You have been radiating your entire life, every moment of every day. Your heart has been generating a field that extends feet beyond your body in every direction, broadcasting your signal to the quantum field, interacting with the fields of every person and environment you've encountered. You have been a radiating field of quantum energy your entire life. Most of it you never chose. You radiated the frequency of your conditioning, your fears, your inherited patterns, your unconscious programming. And the quantum field faithfully organized reality around that signal. But something has been happening beneath all of that, beneath the conditioning and the fear and the dimming. Your soul's actual frequency has been evolving, deepening, becoming more coherent, more powerful, more precisely itself. Through every experience you've had, including especially the difficult ones, through every challenge you've moved through every layer of old pattern you've released, through every moment of genuine courage or love or authenticity. Your signal has been evolving, and it has reached a threshold, the threshold at which the quantum field recognizes it, at which the field can read it clearly, at which the resonance between your authentic frequency and the fabric of reality becomes strong enough for the field to begin organizing around it in earnest. This is the moment. This is the unlocking. This is what your soul came here to receive. Not just the specific experiences and relationships and creative expressions that are your soul's purpose, but this moment itself, this moment of recognition, this moment of crossing, this moment of looking at your own field and seeing it clearly for the first time, and understanding that it has been extraordinary this whole time, that you have been extraordinary this whole time, that the light you've been carrying, often in secret, often in difficulty, often without acknowledgement or confirmation, that light is real. It is powerful. It is seen. The quantum field sees it, has always seen it, and now it is ready to deliver everything that has been waiting in the queue of your soul's destiny, ready for exactly this moment of coherence. You won. Not a competition, not a lottery, something far more meaningful than either. You won the moment of your own recognition, the moment when the universe looks at your signal and says, yes, this one, this frequency, this is what we've been waiting for. This is the light we can work with. This is the soul whose time has come. Your time has come. Feel your field right now. Feel the warmth in your chest. Feel the edges of your body and the space beyond them where your aura is radiating. Feel the signal that is going out from you in every direction, in every moment, into the quantum field that underlies all of reality. That signal is yours, completely and irreplaceably yours. No one else in the history of the universe has ever broadcast exactly your frequency. No one else ever will. You are a unique quantum event, a specific luminous signature in the fabric of existence. And the quantum field needs exactly what you are. You are not too much. You are not too little. You are not too late. You are not too early. You are exactly the frequency that is needed at exactly the moment it is needed, in exactly the form it has taken through the journey of your particular soul. Your light is on. It has always been on. And now you know it. So here is what I want to ask you to do. Not as a practice, as a declaration, as a conscious broadcast into the quantum field that takes everything you've received in this transmission and sends it back out as a signal. Feel your field. Both hands on your chest. Breathe into the warmth. And then, with your full electromagnetic broadcast behind it, with the complete power of your heart field consciously engaged, with the authentic frequency of your soul leading the signal, say this: I am a radiant field of quantum energy. My signal is clear. My frequency is authentic. I am ready to receive what my soul came here for. I am the chosen one of my own becoming. And I am fully here. Let that land. Let it radiate. Let it go out from your field into the quantum field in every direction. Let the universe receive it, because it just did. And now, before we close this transmission, I want to hear from you, because this community, this field of conscious radiators who have found their way to this frequency, is one of the most extraordinary quantum phenomena I know of. When individual fields that are each becoming more coherent come together in a shared field of intention and understanding, the coherence amplifies. The collective field becomes more powerful than the sum of its individual fields. This is quantum entanglement at the level of community, and it is real. So tell me, in the way that feels most true to you, what did you feel the shift in your field during this transmission? What is the quality of existence your soul came here to receive? What is the one thing you're going to release? The frequency splitting, the protective dimming, the temporal displacement, the receiving block that has been preventing the quantum field from delivering to you. And I want to ask something else from this same warm place. Has there been a moment in your life when you noticed your light affecting a room? When someone looked at you differently? When the energy around you shifted simply because you were fully present in your own field? Share it here. These stories are not small. They are transmissions. They are proof of concept for every soul in this space who is still approaching their own threshold. Your words in this space are not just communication. They are frequency broadcasts. They add to the collective field. They contribute to the coherence cascade. They help other souls who are approaching the threshold to feel that the crossing is possible. Your sharing matters not just for you, but for the field. And as you move from this transmission back into the living of your life, I want to offer you the integration principle that holds everything we've explored today. What you radiate, reality assembles around. And you now know what you radiate. You know the frequency of your soul. You know the signal of your authentic self. You know the electromagnetic signature that the quantum field has just recognized and confirmed and begun to organize around. And you know, with a certainty that goes deeper than thought and lands in the body and the field and the heart, you know that you are ready. Not almost ready. Not getting ready. Ready. Now. In this moment. In this frequency. In this body. In this life. If this transmission has moved something in your field, consider returning to it during a quiet morning before the world begins to pull at your frequency, or in the stillness just before sleep, when your field is most open and receptive. Those are the moments when the words land deepest, when the quantum calibration holds longest. And if someone in your life is approaching their own threshold, if you know a soul whose light needs reminding, sharing this with them is itself an act of radiance. When you send this to someone, you are not just passing along a video. You are extending your coherent field toward theirs. You are activating their awareness of their own signal. Two fields in resonance amplify each other, and that amplification ripples outward into the collective. Your sharing is a contribution to the coherence cascade. The quantum field has unlocked what your soul came here to receive. The door is open. The delivery is in motion. The coherence cascade is underway. All that remains is for you to walk through. Not carefully, not cautiously, not with one eye on the exit, fully. radiantly, with your whole field leading. Your aura is active. Your light is conscious. Your signal is clear. You are a radiant field of quantum energy, and now you know it. Shine. Not because you should, because that's what you are. Welcome to your own light. Welcome to the life your soul came here to live. Welcome to the receiving that has always been waiting for exactly the frequency you carry. You won. And the winning is just beginning.